Have you ever said something to a woman and watched the light in her eyes vanish? What if I told you it wasn't your words, but the energy behind them? And what if the key to lasting attraction has nothing to do with looks or charm, but everything to do with presence? Welcome to Stoic Bridge, the bridge between ancient wisdom and modern life, guiding you through life's storms with calm and resilience. Let's take a moment and rewind to something you may have experienced. You're mid-conversation with a woman, things seem to be flowing, and then suddenly the spark fades. Her eyes drift, her mind checks out, and you're left questioning yourself. Was it something I said? Here's the unfiltered truth most men never hear. It's rarely about your looks, your job, or your bank account. What truly breaks connection is your inability to make her feel. Because attraction isn't a checklist. It's chemistry. It's emotional. And if you're caught up overanalyzing every sentence or second-guessing your role in the interaction, she feels it instantly. Women are emotional radars, and when they sense hesitation or insecurity, the bond dissolves before it ever deepens. But here's the shift most men never make. It's not about impressing her. It's about sparking something inside her. If you can ignite curiosity and gently guide the moment with steady, grounded energy, you won't just leave a good impression. You'll leave a mark that lingers long after the conversation ends. In this video, I'm giving you something most men never discover. 6 powerful, emotionally intelligent questions. Not cheesy pickup lines, not surface-level chatter. Real questions, designed to flip the emotional dynamic in your favor. But here's the twist. These only work when you deliver them with true Stoic presence, calm, clear, unshaken. Because when a man stops chasing and starts leading with quiet confidence, that's when everything changes. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you won't just know how to keep her attention, you'll know how to awaken something unforgettable. Question 1. Sometimes all it takes is one question to completely shift the emotional gravity of a conversation. Instead of rattling off facts about yourself or trying to win her over with accomplishments, you quietly ask, what kind of man leaves a lasting impression on you? It's not loud, it's not flashy, but it lands. And something in her posture, her tone, her eyes, begins to change. She's no longer just talking, she's visualizing. Not just any man, possibly you. This isn't a trap to fish for compliments, it's an invitation, a doorway into her deeper desires, the ones she rarely voices, the ones most men never even think to touch. See, most guys approach attraction like a performance. They try to prove they're the man she wants, like a resume with charm. But what sets you apart isn't your story. It's your awareness. It's your emotional depth. It's your courage to ask a question that reveals more than it demands. But timing is everything. You don't drop this 5 minutes into small talk or it'll feel scripted, like an audition. You build a rhythm, you share space, you let her feel your calm, and when the moment feels open, not forced, you lean in with quiet intention, meet her gaze and ask. And when she begins to speak, when she says she values confidence, wit, or quiet ambition, don't rush to become that man. You simply be that man. Through your tone, your posture, your presence. Let your character show, not your effort. Because a man rooted in Stoic confidence never bends to fit someone's checklist. He stands. He watches, and he decides whether this connection fits his values. He doesn't chase the ideal. He is the standard. That's the man she doesn't forget. Now contrast that with how most conversations go. How's work? What's your favorite movie? What did you do this weekend? Harmless, yes, but utterly forgettable. Because the truth is, women rarely remember your words. They remember how they felt around you. And when you can stir something real, like nostalgia, warmth, or intrigue, you stop being another name in her memory. You become an emotion she can't quite shake. And that's where the real connection begins, when you shift the energy from logic to feeling. Let's keep going, because the next question takes that emotional depth even further. Question 2. Picture this. You're in a warm, effortless conversation. The laughter fades into stillness. The air feels safe, almost sacred. And then with genuine calm, you ask, what's a moment with someone that made you feel completely seen and safe? That question doesn't just surprise her. It interrupts her rhythm. It's not something she hears every day, or maybe ever. So she stops, not out of confusion, but reflection. Her eyes drift, not away from you, but inward. She's no longer speaking from memory. She's reliving one. It might be a moment where she let her guard down and wasn't judged. Or maybe it was a playful exchange full of laughter and inside jokes. Perhaps it was a night when she felt completely protected, emotionally, physically, spiritually. Whatever it is, she's not just thinking about that moment, she's feeling it. And in that emotional space, you're already there. Not because you've proven anything. Not because you performed, but because you guided her there through a single question and your grounded presence. That's something most men never tap into. They're too busy trying to be impressive instead of being present. Now here's the secret most overlook. You don't throw this out 5 minutes into small talk. You wait. You observe. You sense the right energy. When her guard is soft, the moment is flowing, and the connection feels real. Then, gently, you lean in and ask. No pressure, just curiosity. And after you ask, you don't jump in. You don't fill the silence, you honor it. Because that pause, that space between her breath and her answer, it's electric. It tells her you're not rushing. You're not chasing approval. You're grounded. And when she finally shares that moment, you don't react or interrupt. You simply receive. With stillness, with presence, because that's when something opens inside her, something most men never even get close to. That's not strategy, that's emotional leadership, and it's the essence of true, unwavering masculine presence. Next, let's take that depth even further by exploring what truly matters in a real relationship. Question 3. Imagine sitting across from someone, the world fading into the background, and you gently ask, when it comes to a real relationship, what truly matters most to you? It's a quiet question, but behind its softness lies something powerful, an emotional mirror. And only a man who truly values himself dares to hold it up, because a man with self-respect doesn't rush into relationships hoping to fill a void. He doesn't chase connection for the sake of validation. He observes, he listens, and most importantly, he asks questions that peel away the surface and reveal the substance most men miss entirely. Chemistry? That's easy. Shared hobbies? Nice, but shallow. True compatibility? That's where the soul speaks and values are heard. This one question isn't flirtation, and it's definitely not small talk. It's a window into how she defines love, trust, growth, and connection. But like any meaningful question, timing is everything. Ask it too soon and you'll only hear rehearsed answers. Loyalty, honesty, respect. Words with weight but little depth if not grounded in feeling, so you wait. You create the space. When the moment is warm and unguarded, when she's speaking from the heart, not the head, you ask. And what she shares in that moment, that's your gold. Maybe she craves deep emotional intimacy. Maybe her soul needs ambition, movement, purpose. Or perhaps her fire is lit by spontaneity, by freedom, by intensity. Whatever she reveals, it shows you exactly what kind of relationship she's wired for. But this is where most men stumble. They hear emotional safety while being emotionally unavailable. They hear security while running from commitment. They assume chemistry will override misalignment, but it doesn't. It only delays the pain. A Stoic man, grounded and self-aware, doesn't twist himself to fit a fantasy. He listens, he reflects, and then he decides, does this align with who I am and what I value? If it fits, it flows naturally. If it doesn't, he walks. No bitterness, no fixing, no chasing what was never meant to work. Because here's what he knows. Attraction may spark a relationship, but only aligned values can make it last. And speaking of deeper connection, what comes next taps into a part of attraction most men never understand, but should. Let's move on. Question 4. Some men walk into a room and speak volumes without saying a single word. They don't need to try hard. Their energy precedes them. It's in the way they hold themselves, how they carry silence like a second skin. That's what draws attention. Not the flash of status, not the sound of compliments, but the quiet certainty of a man who knows who he is. You see, attraction has very little to do with appearance. It has everything to do with what a man emits, a frequency, a vibe, a presence that speaks directly to something deeper in a woman, something emotional, something primal. That's why this next question reveals far more than it seems at first glance. What's something a man can do that instantly gets your attention or drives you crazy in the best way? It sounds playful, flirty, but it's much more than that. It's not just a question, it's a compass. And it doesn't guide her, it guides you. Because her answer offers a clear window into what kind of masculinity speaks to her nervous system. Some women will say it's confidence. It's not the loud, bragging kind, but the quiet, grounded self-belief that makes her feel safe without words. Others might mention mystery, a man who can't be easily read or predicted. Or they'll crave leadership, not control, but calm direction. Maybe it's his wit under pressure, or how he remains steady when others collapse into chaos. But none of this insight matters if you ask too early. You need to build tension. Let curiosity simmer, create the vibe. Let her relax into your presence, feel drawn in, and then drop the question. Not as a test, not as a move, just as part of a natural flow. And when she answers, you don't contort yourself to match her ideal. You don't start performing. You listen with stillness, with clarity, because a man without grounding will chase whatever answer she gives. But a Stoic man holds his frame. If what she desires aligns with who he already is, great. If not, he walks with ease. Because true presence doesn't chase approval, it attracts alignment. And in that space of alignment, that's where unforgettable connection begins. Now let's explore what breaks that connection just as fast, often without warning. Question 5. Every woman has her limits. Silent lines that once crossed shift her energy instantly. Sometimes it's not what a man does to impress her that leaves a mark. It's what he does wrong without even realizing it. And that's exactly why this question is so powerful. What's one thing guys do that instantly kills the vibe for you? At first, it might sound casual, even playful, but underneath, it's revealing. Because when you ask this, you're not just getting her pet peeves. You're giving her permission to speak freely, to unload, to be real about the behavior that turns her off, pushes her away, or makes her feel unseen. Now, here's where most men completely blow it. They either get defensive, as if her response is an attack on their character, or they swing the other way and start over-apologizing like they're the spokesperson for all men on earth. Both reactions? Weak and deeply unattractive. A Stoic man doesn't do either. He stays grounded. He listens. He doesn't internalize. He doesn't argue. And when he does respond, he does it with a calm, relaxed energy, maybe even a smirk. If she says, "I hate guys who act cocky," you don't panic. You smile and joke. "Guess I'll toss out my modeling portfolio then." If she says, "I can't stand guys who blow up my phone," You lean back and laugh. Cool, I'll go ahead and delete that 5-paragraph love letter I was about to send. You're not just reacting, you're redirecting the energy with humor and ease. You're showing her that honesty doesn't rattle you, that you can hold space for criticism, tease a little, and still make her feel safe enough to be herself. That's rare. That's attractive, because women don't want a man who crumbles under truth. They want a man who can handle it with grace. A Stoic man knows criticism is not an attack, it's information. And emotional reactivity? That's ego disguised as strength. But when you stay centered, when you take feedback with clarity and confidence, she doesn't forget you. You become the man who makes her feel understood, even while joking about what drives her crazy. And that kind of man, he doesn't just earn attention, he earns respect. Now let's talk about what most men never think to ask, but should. Question 6. Sometimes the most powerful connections aren't built on answers, but on the right questions. Every woman carries silent thoughts, unspoken emotions she's tucked away, not because she wants to keep them hidden, but because very few men ever make the space to hear them. Most don't even know to ask. They're too busy performing, impressing, or trying to be interesting, when all it takes is one moment of sincere curiosity. And that's what makes this final question so rare and so transformative. What's something you wish more men understood but never ask about? It's simple, yet disarming. She won't expect it, not because it's shocking, but because almost no one thinks to ask. And when you do, you're not just sparking another chat, you're creating a moment, one that lingers. Maybe she'll open up about emotional safety, how hard it is to find a space where she doesn't feel judged. Maybe she'll speak about the quiet exhaustion of balancing independence with the deep desire to feel wanted. Or maybe she'll say something you've never considered, something that stops you in your tracks. But here's the truth. It's not about her words. It's about what she feels while saying them. Because in that moment, she sees you differently. Not as another man trying to impress her, but as a man who understands her. Not by fixing, not by offering advice, but by simply being present. You don't interrupt, you don't rush to speak. You just hold space with quiet strength and total focus. That kind of presence, it's unforgettable. It stirs something in her that even she can't quite name. And that's what keeps you in her mind, long after the moment has passed. Because the man who makes her feel seen without pressure, without agenda, he's the one she remembers. He's the one she comes back to, again and again. And now that you have all 6 questions, let's bring it all together. The man who makes her feel truly seen, without judgment, without pressure, becomes unforgettable. Not because he said the perfect thing, but because he created a space where she could simply be. At the end of the day, real attraction isn't about tactics, tricks, or pretending to be someone you're not. It's not about rehearsed lines or calculated moves. It's about this simple, profound truth. Women don't fall for perfection. They fall for presence. They're drawn to the man who remains steady in chaos, the one who listens with curiosity but never neediness, the one whose strength isn't loud or forceful, but calm, centered, and deeply felt, the man who feels but never loses himself in emotion. That's the energy that draws them in. That's what they crave. Emotional leadership, not emotional instability. And that's exactly what these 6 questions are about. They aren't tricks. They're not some kind of magic formula. They're mirrors. They don't just reveal who she is, they reflect who you are. Because when you're the kind of man who can hold eye contact without flinching, who can ask deep, emotionally intelligent questions without fear, who can create emotional tension without ever losing his grounding, you don't just get the girl. You create an emotional imprint, something rare, something magnetic, something she doesn't fully understand, but can't stop thinking about. That's why she replays the moments in her mind when you're not around. That's why she craves your presence, even if she doesn't want to admit it. But here's the truth most men miss. You don't ask these questions to impress her. You ask them because you're genuinely curious. You're not performing, you're evaluating. Is she even worthy of entering your world? Because you are the prize. Not because you boast or say it out loud, but because your presence speaks louder than words, through your energy, your patience, your groundedness. So remember this: don't chase her emotions, guide them. Don't react to her moods, stay centered. Don't lose yourself trying to be liked, stay rooted in who you are. That's Stoic masculinity, that's emotional mastery. That's the foundation of real, lasting attraction. And when you live from that place, you don't just make women want you. You make the right woman respect you, trust you, and choose you without hesitation. Now, if this message resonated with you, if you're ready to lead with presence instead of performing for approval, go ahead and like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss what's coming next. And in the comments, drop this: presence over performance. Let's see who's really living it, not just talking about it.